Now, if you were to ask me 2.5 years ago what I thought of Candace Owens, I would have said she's a really solid Politico in the sense that she definitely talks a good game. Very stark differences on a number of key issues. Opportunistic in several ways. When you build networks and platforms this large, it's going to happen. But she has been relentless about this issue, about getting this relationship between us and Israel severed. She made a really great point that I want to highlight here, that I want you guys to see.
Just give up. It's going to come out. Whatever it is going to come out. You would have to, and I wouldn't put it past you, you'd have to get rid of all of us. You got like 7 billion people you've got to ethnically cleanse right now if you want us to just forget about the Charlie Kirk story. No one's forgetting it, okay?
And she's absolutely right. When it comes to the Charlie Kirk story, which is one of several that they are trying to sweep under the rug right now, she is 1,000% correct that it's not going to go away. And while you can knock off a few voices here and there, you can't get everybody. And that is why collectively, if we work together, we can make this happen. And I am also noticing, as I'm sure many of you have noticed as well, it is much easier to coalesce with people who identify as libertarian or right politically, or both, kind of the same thing, versus people who are on the left, progressive left. They are still of this mind that we have to separate based on small ideological circumstances because that is what they feel is defining them right now. I do not understand for the life of me if anybody is on board with the revolutionary situation that we're faced with right now. Yes, a lot of problems with somebody like Charlie Kirk, but it's not about Charlie per se. It's about what he represented. It's about the movement that he represented that was being cultivated for the empire. And the second that person gets out of line, well, somebody of that magnitude is going to be removed. Because it wasn't just Charlie. There were several others. But Candace is absolutely right about this. So we will continue.
Not the ballistics guys on YouTube that we're all listening to. And no one's going to let this one go because, and by the way, that's your fault. I don't know whose sadistic idea it was to make this a public execution, but let me tell you where you made the mistake, okay? In 1963, when JFK was shot, people didn't watch it on TikTok. People mostly read about it, and then the feds lied about it, and they heard about it. But to be able to have us watch that live around the world, you traumatized all of us. And not in the way that you meant to. You meant to traumatize us, and maybe then make us fearful and scared. And yeah, that happened. Then you made us really angry that corruption is allowed to be like this, just so blatant and so in our face, looking at us as if we're nothing. And what are you going to do about it? That's the attitude. What are you going to do about it? You wanted to traumatize us and then to, on a dime, flip and look us in the face and go, how dare you ask questions? People are grieving. Yeah, we're grieving because you assassinated Charlie Kirk in front of the entire world.
You know, I don't want to pick on Erica Kirk because I think she's just playing a role. But you would think somebody like Erica Kirk would be acting the way that Candace is acting right now. Instead, what did she do? She took a video of her crying over the lifeless body in a casket of Charlie. Maybe demanding an autopsy might have been a good idea. Just a thought. And now the person who's really fighting for justice, and yes, Candace is fighting for justice for Charlie, and I understand that. but she's also fighting for justice for this cause that we're fighting for, which is to sever this relationship once and for all.
If you had pretended he slipped and fell on some ice in the winter, maybe you wouldn't have this response. But you got our attention because you went after our attention. You wanted this for whatever sadistic reason. You wanted this to be a public execution, and that disturbs me.
It should disturb everybody. But remember, it was deliberately made a public execution. That's what it was supposed to be. They wanted it done in public. If they wanted it done in private, they would have, trust me, if they wanted to make it private, it would have been private. Slipped and fell on a banana peel and fell down 2 flights of stairs and broke his neck. No, we're going to do it in public. We are going to make it graphic. And we're going to send a signal to everybody that, yeah, don't get out of line, or you might end up like this. Netanyahu going on TV saying, it is a lie. It is a lie. I did not kill Charlie Kirk. Have I mentioned before that I did not kill Charlie Kirk? I did not kill Charlie Kirk. He did it on like 3 or 4 occasions. This is outrageous that you would suggest that I would kill Charlie Kirk. I'm starting to think maybe he might have had something to do with it. Just a chance.
So you get what you get, okay? This is the internet generation. You get TikTokers that are asking questions. You get our military guys. You get our ballistic boys. You get the TikTok medium psychic ladies. You get everybody. All of us are here, okay? It's like a high school class. You got all different types of characters here, but we're running this, okay? We're running this. And we're not going to be nice to any substitute teachers that you try to throw in there and try to calm down. Nope, we're not doing that, okay? We're not calming down. We're pretty upset, and we're going to stay upset.
You tell it, sister. And she's right. We are going to keep fighting. And the reason we're going to keep fighting, and the reason I played this clip first, is because I want everyone to be clear that Candace is on a mission right now. She is on a mission to use all of her platform in the same vein that Tucker Carlson is doing. And he is fighting, just as she is, to bring justice to this. Not just, again, we were heading in this direction already, but Charlie Kirk's assassination has sent it into overdrive. And now Candace is going to talk about what she discovered in terms of the conversation that was happening as it relates to Charlie Kirk and this private chat that he was in just 2 days before his assassination.
With Israel bullying him, and I am now going to present you proof of what I am saying. This is an actual group chat, which happened 2 days before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. There were 9 people in total on this chat, including Charlie and Rob McCoy. I'm going to protect the names of the other 7 for now. To be clear, I might actually release a name every day this week, but I want to show you this because suffice it to say, Rob McCoy was on this text thread, and I think it helps contextualize him as a person, in my view, that he would attack me for telling the truth about the pressure that he was facing. Take a look. So Charlie writes in this group chat, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes, oh.
You know, I've said to Jen and I said to a few others that I think that with Tucker in particular, it's on a personal level with Milikowski Netanyahu. He doesn't like him personally. And so he does not hesitate to call him what he is, which is a mass murderer. In addition, Candace, who was a part of a pro-Israel front NGO, which is the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro, and she was confident enough in her abilities that she could venture out on her own without their backing and do it herself. And you know what? She bet on herself and she won. She maintained the relationship that she did with Charlie Kirk, but you have to believe, guys, that when Candace flipped on Daily Wire, which was about 6 months into the genocide, that there was already conversations with Charlie from the powers that be to say, you're going to have to back away from your relationship with Candace Owens. And he said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to try to show her that the relationship is still possible with Israel. But as time went on, as you can see, he learned very quickly that that is not the case. It is not a salvageable relationship. It is a relationship that must be destroyed. Now, I don't think he came to it all that quickly. But as you can see here, there are a lot of different examples of bribery that one will employ in order to keep people in line. Charlie's a prime example of just that, guys. $2 million in annual contribution. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to say no to. But remember, the difference with somebody like Charlie versus a lot of others, Charlie was taking that Zion money for a long time. And he decided not to take it anymore. There are no coincidences, ladies and gentlemen. Everything happens for a reason, intentional or not.
Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause.
Now, let's be very clear. We've been saying this for a while. This is a class war, nothing more. When people equate Judaism to Zionism, you are playing right into their hands, which is what they want you to do. The wealthy Jews, in particular, want to speak for all Jews, regardless of what their profession is. I know all of you assume that they're all in banking, but that's not true. They're also doctors and lawyers and accountants, and you get the idea. The point is, this is not a Jewish thing. This is a Zionist Jewish thing, and it's a big fucking problem. And there's only so many of them that actually control the levers of power, but they don't have a flock. Their flock's not big. The big flock are the Christian Zionists. They're in the millions upon millions in this country, and they all stem from Protestant evangelism. That's where they come from. John Hager, Pat Robertson, Joel Osteen. You get the idea. But the whole preaching therein about these individuals, they're the ones who provide the sheep. And as stereotypical as it may be, the Jewish Zionists provide the money. And that's where this unholy alliance comes into play. The Jewish Zionists, the billionaire class that are heavily funding Turning Point USA, they are providing that money to Charlie Kirk to make sure that the Christian Zionists don't get out of line, that they stay on the reservation, no matter how bad this looks, no matter how un-Christ-like our behavior may appear to be. That's how this has worked. And now what you're seeing is that he didn't want to play that game anymore. Whether it was truly because of his Christian consciousness that woke him up, or because he just felt that he could do it without their help, whatever the reasoning is, he bet on red and it landed on black. And that's why he's dead.
And somebody writes, a donor writes, please do not invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term. In my opinion, like all groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times after the dust settles a bit, maybe. So again, this is 48 hours before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was very clear and he was very explicit, and he did not back down, not in that Hamptons meeting, which they're all lying about, nor in this text thread. I'm not going to reveal the names of the other 7. Actually, you know what? I disagree with myself 4 seconds ago. Let's just throw in Josh Hammer for fun.
Now, for those of you who are familiar with the name Josh Hammer, and if he rings a bell, One of the first viral clips that we did post Charlie's assassination that I always believed without question was one of the last straws when they decided he had to go, was at the last Turning Point USA get-together, the last conference that they held. They warned him not to have Dave Smith as one of the speakers. He had him anyway. And who did he debate on stage? Josh Hammer. The pieces fit too conveniently at this point. I'm not saying who did it. I'm just telling you who did it.
He's on this chat, okay? So what are we to make of that? Okay, now that I'm showing you this and showing to you that the conversations were real, I want you to reflect, and it took me a lot of patience to allow the lies that were being woven and the misrepresentations of people that were pretending that I was just, high on lying about Charlie and the pressure he was under, the attacks that not just me, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly faced for trying to stand up and tell the truth about what Charlie was actually going through. Why are you hearing it, though, from me and Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly? Isn't that weird? You got people that are hosting a show. Have they, in like one honorable thing, come out and said, like, you know what? F a couple of these donors who made his life a living hell in the last couple of weeks? Why haven't they done that?
One thing you have to remember about these operations, as I pointed out when I went to one of the Turning Point USA events in Tampa, Florida, these are multi-million-dollar production endeavors. It's no different than going to an RNC convention or a DNC convention. The whole pomp and circumstance, the TV cameras, the masterminds. On the commercial real estate side, I've been to a few of these events. They're not cheap. They're rallying cries. Like-minded individuals getting together to Talking Points USA, not Turning Points. The points have turned in the not so favorable direction. But have no illusions. Those events are not being paid for out of Charlie's pockets. They're also not being paid for by $25 a pop donors. They're being paid for by multi-millionaire, if not outright billionaire contributors. And as it turns out, several of those donors were very pro-Israel Zionist genociders, as we are now seeing. He's said a few things over the past several months. Probably got him into a lot of trouble. They warned him. Jen has pointed out, I've pointed it out, Charlie Kirk was groomed in more ways than one from the time he was a teenager. Powers that be saw something in him. They knew they could use him to rally the troops. Remember, nothing lasts forever. You have to keep things moving because there are generational shifts, hence generational change. You're noticing a lot of people that are passing away right now. Diane Keaton just passed away earlier this afternoon. And she was only 79. She wasn't even that old. But there are these generational shifts that happen constantly. It happens every 30 years. In grand scheme of things, it's not that, it happens fairly often enough where you see it at least twice, if not 3 times in your lifetime. And it's happening right now. As a result, they have to prepare for the future. And they have to make sure that they have servants, lapdogs, trainees that are going to carry on the legacy and carry on the empire. Charlie was going to carry on the empire until he wasn't. He decided to get his mind right in the right way, and the powers that be decided No, you're not. And when he defied them and said that, yes, I will, well, they had to make an example of him. Why? Because he's not the only one. If he was all by himself, they might have figured out a way to deal with him. But there's a lot of powerful voices out there that are also speaking out against the genocidal state, and Candace Owens is one of them. The shot across the bow was to tell her, you better watch your step, or you might be next. Well, as we have pointed out multiple times over the past 6 months, it's a month, Candace is basically underground. She's probably in a compound. So wherever she is, she's not going out in public. And if she does, she probably has to go everywhere with bomb-sniffing dogs and multiple security detail. Now, she's got enough money where she can manage to do that. So does Tucker Carlson. But the average person doesn't. I don't. I've already had my first run-in with the law because of the fact that somebody didn't like what I was saying about their genocidal approach to doing business at a synagogue in New York City. And that's just the start. It's only going to get worse. I'm prepared for it. I understand what I'm doing right now. I know it's dangerous. But for God's sake, somebody's got to fucking do it. Candace can't do it alone. Under normal circumstances, yeah, we would probably have a lot of differences and a number of key issues that would probably separate us politically. But you know what? This is the issue of our time. This connects all the pieces. All of it. You want to know why things are getting so bad here on the home front? Because the very people that have been funding and pushing this endeavor in Gaza and in the Middle East and attempting to start World War III with Iran as we speak. Israel is bombing Lebanon as we speak. Nice ceasefire they put together. Let me tell you, we cannot let up. We are never going to get them to admit that they murdered Charlie Kirk, but we can convince the masses that they did. And their credibility is bon voyage after that. It already is, but we want it to happen a lot faster. So that's our job.
There's also a rabbi in that chat. Like, why hasn't anybody made that move to at least say, to vindicate what I have been saying about what he was going through? That registers to me as very suspicious. I'm going to frankly say that. It's suspicious to me. It makes me think that in the same way that Charlie was being pressured by money, that you might be now run by that same money, that those same donors might be running you.
They are. The same donors are running you. And there is why they are convinced that those that they expect to actually back off are not going to back off. It's also very explanatory when we look at others. I know that they're low-hanging fruit and we can take pot shots at them left and right, but it's those Zio scum that are picking off $7,000 a post. Now, granted, I'm sure that whatever the post is, it has to be constructed in a certain way. It's not just any post. It's got to be Zio approved, talking point specific post. And then you get the money. That's how it works. We've got 600 and we had the sign of the devil. We had 666 watching. Now we're at 662. If you haven't hit that like button, only 442 of you have. Please smash it if you could. Let's see if we could get to 700 live stream viewers tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're only 38 away. There's no reason we can't get there. A few extra likes are going to go a long way to making this happen. And why, one would ask, would this be such a big deal? There's many a reason why. But I also think that the Zion Nazis overthink their situation in the worst kind of ways. They're not that smart. And that's what I want to emphasize to people. They think that by committing the violence that they've committed, that by some miracle, everyone is all of a sudden going to forget about everything that's happened. Everyone is going to get in line and people are going to stop asking questions, and that they will prevent the change that is inevitably coming in the future. They're going to find out very quickly that that is simply not the case. Those changes are already here. And now, because of what they did specifically to Charlie, they didn't stop it. They just accelerated it to a level that now they're not going to be able to control. And again, I will reference our friend Rothbone, who has a great channel. And he said, and I quote, "They're just going through a speed run at this point to their demise." And I believe that.